Currently, more than 629,000 over and underage children are sitting in kindergarten classrooms across the country. Now, this is the outcome of a latest study by the Education Ministry on the right age enrollment. The delay in right age enrollment, among others, forces school authorities to put over-age children in kindergarten, causing unnecessary congestion and difficulty in instruction. Now, in most kindergartens across the country, you will find children aged 7 to 13 years learning with 4-year-olds. These are some of the issues raised in our latest Hotline documentary, The Launchpad, produced by Emefa Etiamwa Eli, as part of a one-month campaign titled Enroll Me Now. It's aimed at promoting early childhood education, and there is more in the following report.
12-year-old Josephine Akpe is now in KG2. Compared to her classmate Frema, who is 4 years old, Josephine seems to be having it tough, catching up with classmates who are much younger than her. She struggled to introduce herself to me.
My name is Joseph Akpe. I am 12 years old. I am KG2.
Great, you did well. Let's take the last one, then you go to class.
My name is Joseph Akpe. I am 12 years old. My class is KG2.
Say it again.
My name is Joseph Akpe. I am 12 years old. I am KG2.
For Millicent Bobo, who is a KG2 teacher at the Ningo Presby B Basic School, teaching overage children is very difficult.
Looking at Frema like this, he's between the 4 years to 5 years. But looking at Josephine like this, she's older. So at times when you are teaching like this, she feels so reluctant and she thinks she's older than them and she can do anything that she likes. And at times too, she feels shy being the eldest among the class.
To enable every child be on the same page, the late starters who are found in kindergartens are thus occupying the limited space meant for those aged 4. This means the possibility of some of these right age pupils being left out of the classroom due to lack of space is high.
Very good.
This also means instead of perhaps learning upper class syllabi, the overage children are made to learn lower class syllabi to make up for the basics they didn't get.
So when you go home today, you tell your parents that you learned about the sound words. Again, sit down.
Ghana's education policy says at age 4, a child should be in kindergarten. However, according to the 2016-2017 Ministry of Education's Management Information System, there are more than 600,000 children aged between 6 and 11 years who sit in KG classrooms, while over 350,000 are not in school at all. The Ashanti and Bonahafu regions have the highest over and underage children, with the least in the Upper West region. Children as old as 7, 8, 10 and 13 years are lumped with those between 4 and 5 years in the same classroom. The rationale for the action of the head teachers is to ensure the overage children don't miss out on the fundamentals they should have had at age 4.
As in what? Very good.
Despite the adage, age is no limit to education, it is also indisputable to say, if you start right, you get it right. Here is the Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Edichum.
If you're a parent and you're saying to yourself, I did not go to any early grade education. In my time, there was no KG1, KG2, and I'm still fine. Times have changed. You were with peers who also never went to early grade schools. So you competed very well. But now, your children are going to meet others, if they don't go, who have had a head start. And with that head start, they will outcompete your child. So times have changed, and as a result, I will appeal to all parents to seriously consider early grade education as an important life-changing event in this 21st century.
On the benefits of right age to enroll in school are key factors contributing to the late enrollment in Ghana. MFA Atiamwa Eli for JoyNews.
MFA's report there raising several very important concerns. Let's learn more about this campaign. We're joined, of course, in the studio by MFA Atiamwa Eli. She's the coordinator for this campaign here at Multimedia. MFA, thanks so much for making the time. But look, what exactly do we need to know in a nutshell about this Enroll Me Now program?
What we need to know is that, Kojo, it's a new academic year. If you have a child who is aged 4 and above, the child has to be in KG as soon as possible. You shouldn't let that child miss this opportunity. The earlier your child starts, the better his or her future, and she has a greater chance of having an added advantage over her peers or his or her peers in the future. So the simple word or encouragement to every parent, anyone watching, is that if you have a child close to you who is not in school, as far as the child is at age 4, the child has to be in KG. By tomorrow, private schools would have reopened. Next week, public schools will be reopening. So let the children be in school. Over the period, there's been a gradual decrease in the number of late enrollments, but the Ministry of Education, in partnership with its development partners, feel that there's more that needs to be done. So the time is now. Let's not waste any more time. That's
But
it.
of course, parents who are wishing to heed this advice, some of them may encounter KG schools in which those spaces are already taken up because there are already several overage children in the system, right?
Okay, that's really the case on the ground. That's the more reason the ministry and their development partners are encouraging that as early as possible. Don't wait till the child gets older before he or she goes to school, because if you do that, if right now we have just about 5 KG classrooms and we are expecting to give it to maybe 5 years old or 6 year old who are about 10 or 15, and we have about 100 or 50 of overage children trying to use the same space, definitely we are going to have some crisis there. So we have provided some amount of infrastructure. It's not all, but as soon as it becomes easier if you send your child to school early, so that we don't have to deal with the late enrollment.
Indeed. Now, joining us via Skype is the Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Yao Educhum. Let's hope he can share some thoughts with us on this campaign. Doc, thank you very much for your time with us. This is an important campaign, obviously.
Thank you.
But tell us, what exactly is the ministry doing so far to encourage right age enrollment, especially since, as MFA points out, it's a new academic year?
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. And I also want to congratulate MFA for the work that he is doing in this area. Something that add more value to our early grade education. As we all know, early grade education carries with it tremendous benefit to a child, and not just at the point they've entered early grade, but throughout the whole career from school and beyond. It's very critical life skills that they learn and that they are, especially at that age, they are brains. Early grade education has tremendous benefit. Having said that, we have great in this country. However, there are a number of challenges that the sector is facing. Service is doing everything possible to ensure that the greatest of benefits can inure
Right.
children.
Now, Doc, we're struggling to hear clearly what you're saying. It appears we have a technical problem we need to resolve quickly, and then we will immediately come back to you to get the rest of that all-important submission. That, of course, is Dr. Yao Educhum. He's the Deputy Minister for Education. They, of course, are very interested in getting this problem resolved. But let's think about the factors. What are the things that cause a family, a parent, to not take their 4-year-old to school when they should?
With my engagement with some of the people I've spoken to so far, essentially, I think the main issue has to do with poor sensitization. There isn't much education for these people to appreciate the essence of early grade education or childhood education. So they think it's normal as for a child. Maybe you have to grow up a little, learn how to talk, be able to do certain things before they finally put you in school. And all of that is a delay to the child. Some have also complained about money. They don't have the financial support to be able to put their children in school as early as possible. And there are also areas where really, though there are schools, but the facilities for KG are inadequate. So then, as I told you earlier, if you have a space for just about 10 children who are supposed to be in KG and you have these older children coming in, between you and I, if I were the head teacher and I feel that a child at age 5 deserves this space opportunity, definitely you would give priority to that child, and maybe either you push the elderly person to a higher grade or you ask maybe for them to look for another alternative. All of these generally for most people are the reasons which for most people they are unable to take their children to school as early as they would want to.
So how are the parents taking the sensitization? Have you been able to track some of their responses to the work that has been done so far?
I got the opportunity to meet some community members in Ningo Pram Pram, which has also had a good history regarding progress in the education. And so far, one key community leader I spoke to told me really over the period they've seen some improvements. Gone were the days where the parents would even themselves discourage their children from going to school. But fortunately for them, those who have gone out of the community and have been exposed to the essence of childhood education are back in the community now, and they're educating the rest of the residents on the need to take their children to school as early as possible.
Now, of course, the principle of free, basic, universal, compulsory education, which is what our Constitution calls for, is brought into question here, isn't
Precisely.
it? If some of the parents are concerned about money, it clearly means that for some reason that stage of education is
it's
still
supposed to be free, but
yes.
really that is not what is the case is on the ground. Truly, so I spoke to one parent who was complaining about the challenge of having to buy books, the challenge of having to give the child pocket money for school daily. And there's somebody who doesn't really do much in terms of employment work. So on the days that she's unable to raise much, it means that the children will stay home or they will even delay in going to school. Obviously, you and I can say that when you do that, it will affect the child's academic work. Either they are always late in school, so they will miss out on most of the lessons which are being taught, or they will not even get it at all. So I think it's a big issue. It's a big issue, yeah.
Now, of course, at this point, school has reopened.
Yeah.
In some senses, is it too late for this academic year, for this message to actually bear fruit?
Not necessarily, because enrollment, generally, if you look all over the country, enrollment is often throughout the month of September. So tomorrow is 4th September, yes, so the private schools will be reopening. Most private schools, they, even before September, have been advertising admission in progress. Some are going to be doing this throughout the entire term. Right. The same applies to the public schools. So if you're able to do it within the month of September, you're still okay. You're safe.
Well, that means there's time. Well, let's see if we can reconnect with Dr. Yao Educhum. He is the Deputy Minister for Education. Doc, I hope you can hear me clearly. You were saying something very important, but the line wasn't the best. If you can just go over that point you were making earlier.
I can hear you clearly. Yeah, the point I was making is that universities, early grade education have shown to give children a lot of advantage and be able to relate to their peers. There's research that shows that our students who get early grade education have a better chance of going through high school. They have better disposition towards their peers and adults. So there are so many benefits, and including the ability to do well in grade school. So obviously there are benefits. We have an opportunity in this country because now it's catching on, because Act 778 included KGs to the basic school. Our students are expected to begin their education at age 4, to have 2 years of KG, which is very unique for Ghana. In other jurisdictions, the advanced countries, KG is 1 year, and then you have preschool preceding that. And preschool invariably is not part of the basic education. So having said that, the challenges are there, but the issue of education, we really have to confront the challenges. In some communities, you don't even have KGs attached to the primary school, which means these parents are supposed to travel a distance. So that is one of the reasons why they wait for a certain age, because if they don't have transportation to the nearest KG in the community, it's difficult for the child to walk. So that complicates the issue of children going at the right age. And that is why the Ministry of Education has estimated that we need to build one child in school as a KG attached to them. We have 100 KG currently under construction. 50 of them will be open this year, and next year, 9 of them are going to open. That part, every primary school must have a KG attached to it, so that children or parents will not have to make a decision that my child can go walk, and I don't have a transportation, and therefore the child has to wait till the not go the right way.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that point made, Dr. Educhum, Deputy Minister for Education. Clearly, one of the obvious solutions would be to ensure that schools have KGs attached to them, so that the provision of that level of education for free can be better assured. Thank you very much for that bit of information. Now let's go on to another story in the education sector. By the way, thank you so much, MFA.
You're welcome,
Tiamo Eli, for that enlightenment.